Today I'm having a look at the XSoul 3-inch range of props. You can find them on Amazon. These guys have a similar prop shape as the racecraft props, so I would assume that they're pretty comparable. I've been flying them on my Raiju's for a little while now, and I like them pretty well, and they do pretty good on the bench as well. As usual, I'm testing on the DYS 1306 4000 kV motor at 3S on my custom thrust stand. We're looking at both the tri-blade and the quad blade. The tri-blade is pretty respectable. It isn't as much power as we expect from like the Rotor X, only 252 grams, but the amp draw is pretty modest at only 8.8 amps, and the efficiency is pretty good. And I did find in the multi-blade test that I did recently, this triple actually doesn't lose any efficiency compared to the two-bladed version of the prop. So it's a great option to you're not losing anything out by going with the triple over making a two-blade. So it's a great way to make up for the loss of thrust that we get from it being a not super aggressive pitch. The quad blade is probably what more people are likely to use. The extra load drops us down to about 30,000 RPM, but we're getting 273 grams of thrust out of it now, which is really nice. We're pretty close to Rotor X territory, up near 300. And the efficiency starts dropping off a little bit, but it's still fairly decent. 10.2 amp draw is not anything that's going to be difficult to deal with in a small 3-inch build. And so this is what I'm actually using, and it's been really nice. If we look at the thrust chart, you can see we've got some issues with noise I'm trying to work out on the test equipment right now, and you can see we've got the Rotor X in blue. This is our baseline, really what everything else is judged against, and the tri-blade in green and kind of red-orange on the quad. The quad blade makes up nice ground over the tri-blade, not quite hitting Rotor X power levels throughout the RPM band, but given the price of them, isn't really anything to complain about. The efficiency, you can see the Rotor X prop taking a minor lead over most of it, and the total power level we're getting to about 130 watts, 140 watts or so on the high end on the Rotor X, and our XSoul quad is only at about 140. 142, so very similar max power, slightly less thrust, so you can see the efficiency dropping off there, versus the tri-blade, which has a very similar efficiency to the Rotor X prop through most of the tested range here. So we're taking that hit in the efficiency from the quad, and that's really what's dropping us back. But still, this isn't super big amount to worry about, and it's perfectly suitable. And here we're looking at the percentage of free running load, and I have even more issues to work out here with the absolute values. We get some measurement errors, but relative amounts you can still see. This is so comparing the RPM over the time of the test of the motor with no prop on it to how much slower it spins once we put the prop. So you can see the tri-blade here in the full throttle, it's spinning 28% slower than when it has no prop. And the XSoul quad and the Rotor X one, the Rotor X one under slightly higher load, 33% versus 32%. For the XSoul quad, very similar loading for the tri-blade and the quad blade.